Ted Jones messed with the wrong melon farmers.
Ted Jones, I also call him the eighth wonder of the real estate world.
Ted Jones, who knows, it could be.
Ted Jones?
The Ted Jones World Podcast.
Yo, what is good, Ted Jones Worlders? Episode 38. I am here with, of course, Pat Charmel, producer Pat. Pat, how are you doing, bro?
What's up? What's going on?
Pat, you look good on that little still we got here of you with the dog and, just you on your phone. You love the phone and the dog.
Thanks so much.
So, Pat, my man, we have a special guest today. We have an Ivy League hoop star, former Ivy League hoop star, a good friend of mine, hoop star turned Euro pro and owner of B-Ball app Dosa, Armani Cotton. Armani, what is up, man? How are you?
What's good, Teddy? What's good, man?
So Armani and I have known each other for a long time. I asked him to come on Ted Jones World Podcast. Got to get an athlete, basketball player for sure, especially after this whole Jordan documentary. I wanted to pick his brain. And Armani, what's up, man? Where are you in the world, dude?
I'm in Oslo, Norway right now. I'm stuck in Europe, but honestly, I might be seeking asylum just because New York City is a little bit crazy right now. So my visa is holding on strong, and I don't think I'm gonna return until there's some type of normalcy. So yeah, I'm out here after the season. I was in Berlin before, in Oslo, so just chilling in the apartment.
Nice, man. So you're playing ball over there in Norway. How many hours ahead is that ahead of New York?
Six hours. Got 6 hours on you guys.
Okay, so let me just give Armani just a quick background on Armani. So Armani created an app called Dosa. We're going to get into that. But first, bro, I want to talk about just like your career going into basketball. When I knew you 15 years ago, or even more than that, 15, 20 years ago, bro.
Shit, what were we talking about? 8, 9, 10?
Dude, yeah. So Armani went to school with me, and he didn't start fully taking basketball seriously, if you don't mind me saying, I guess until like high school, right? Like when you went to start developing.
I mean, that's a good statement. I think I did a lot of different sports and stuff. Basketball was always there, but I think it became the main thing. Yeah, for sure. It became the main thing in high school. You're right on that.
Right. Like when you were looking at high schools, I remember you were like just trying to figure out which school had the best basketball program and where you can like hop off and go to a great school. So Armani, a very smart kid, because, he went to school with Ted Jones. Just kidding, guys. Chill. Armani went to Yale. And after a tough freshman year, dude, you won the Ivy League championship your senior year. So why don't you talk about a little bit what that was like starting freshman year, getting to Yale, and then, making it all the way to the last playoff game to go to the NCAA tournament, bro. And you beat UConn on the way. Pat and I, by the way, UConn alum. And Armani.
Oh, he's a UConn alum too? Sorry about that, bro. Sorry about that. Yeah,
it's all good.
I requested that plug-in. That needs to be known, right? we got the childhood memories, but more importantly, I still remember you shooting me a text. You're like, "Fuck, dude, you hit a 3 against us?" Like, yeah. No, but yeah, let's think. I guess so. Freshman year for sure was a tough one. Yeah, coming from New York City, obviously, hotbed for basketball, but we both came from pretty progressive private schools where sports, if not basketball, and then even for you, tennis wasn't exactly a part of the plan. It was like, yeah, just do as well as you can academically, and then the goal is to go to a notable college. And for me, sports was always going to be a part of the narrative, and I was just doing everything I possibly could to kind of bring up my experience points, I guess, in basketball alongside with academics, because at least I can say for my mom, that was a focal point. The goal always was for her, in her mind, all right, you got to go to either Harvard, Yale, Princeton. That's the goal. That's the ambition. That's why we're in this country. So it was just always I was always looking out for what the closest level of competition was for basketball for me to get right. And freshman year was tough just because I think there was a bit of not a culture shock, but more so just all right, this is a consistent level of competition. that I have to face, and I wasn't accustomed to things not coming that easy, or maybe like not having like the validation that probably comes with, you know, going to the private schools where like teachers are always like, yo, how can we help? Like, how can we help you succeed? In sports, for sure, as you know, like it's about performance, and you know, you get invested in as much as you perform. So freshman year was definitely like a learning curve, but I wouldn't be where I'm at now if it wasn't for that. Just because I learned like, okay, bro, like you gotta produce. It's not so much about the process. You gotta produce.
Right. So, what made you choose Yale? You know, besides like, I guess.
Yeah. So aside from moms, yeah, I think for me, like off rip, I just had like I had a real good vibe with the dude who was on my official visit, like the dude who hosted me on my official visit. He was just like, he just seemed like the antithesis of everything I thought about Ivy League. He was a real fun dude, this dude like named Isaiah. And I think I was just trying to, I knew like there's a nerdy side to me, but then there's obviously like a hoop side.
Sure. There
was a hoop side to me, and I felt like, dang, like, you know, this dude doesn't seem nerdy at all, but I knew he was OD smart. So I was just like, you know, if that's what, you know, the athlete, the student athlete at least looks like, you know, I can tap into that. Like I'm enjoying that type of environment, because I didn't want to overload of either. I knew I couldn't sustain it just because, you know, my experience in New York with like private school and then juggling basketball, which was like a completely outside of school thing. It was really hard. It was just like, I couldn't find versions of myself. And I felt like he was like, he made sense to me.
And for the most part, I mean, you with your grades, you could have gone like any school you wanted, but like, were there other schools that like maybe were a little bit more basketball at the time doing you, and they were like, yo, come to the school, you know, give you a shot. Academics aren't as great, but you know, maybe it'll prepare you better for pro ball circumstance where like maybe you want to go to the NBA or something, because I know NBA draft, so obviously the hopes were there. So what were your kind of thoughts around that, like versus a Louisville, a Kentucky, a Gonzaga, something like that?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I mean, I don't want to get it twisted. Like my ambition to this day is always like the NBA. Like that's what you know, you aspire to do when you get into basketball, especially from New York City, I guess. But like for me, like 100%, that's just what I wanted to do. And I was thinking about any space that could help me get to that point. And it for sure was not Yale, Harvard, or any other Ivy League that, you know, was kind of put on a pedestal, especially at that time. But I guess my recruitment, so like I was being recruited by all the Ivies. So like that was, you know, super privileged like situation. But I was like, yeah, you know, that's the safety situation right now for me. Like my ambition is like, I'm trying to go to like as close to a Big E school, maybe like something ACC, but my only interest came from, so Notre Dame had come see me play my senior, like during like senior, like fall ball, they call it.
So, and, bro, just to recap, where were you your senior year?
So I transferred to NMH, this prep school called Northfield Mount Herman. So like this is like along the lines of like I'm trying to continue to have the most competition like athletically to meet with like my academic experience, which was like always super intense and rigorous. And I just felt like, you know, coming from friends like where we were at, and then I transferred for high school to Dalton, like both academically demanding, but athletically, you know, that's not exactly where you're trying to go if you're trying to make that jump to college like to Division I basketball, let alone like professional. So yeah, and that transfer to NMH, like yeah, it was fall ball, and I guess the assistant or associate head coach was there looking at another player, and I hooped my ass off, and my coach was like, "Hey man, like Notre Dame, bro, like cooking in front of them." So I'm like, I was like, yo, this is why I transferred. I'm freaking out. I'm calling my mom. I'm like, yo, like, and then it kind of hit me like, holy shit, they're gonna send the head coach to come see me play next week. And I'd never been in that type of situation. And I absolutely shit the bed. Like I freaked out. Bro. I probably played like the worst pickup like game, and everything was like biased towards like coach let our guards know like, yo, feed him, let Armani work, like you know, let him get hit, like show. where I was like, every single shot was magnified. I was looking over to the side, like, damn, like, did you see that miss? Like, I hope you saw that swish. So I was like completely boxed out. Yeah, I botched that up. But it was like, you know, it's a part of like that experience. And I didn't completely get over that in college because like things like that would pop up. But it for sure like let me know, you know, just like the whole expectation thing around sports. And then also like the process. Like I put in more shots than ever that week, but it's still, you know, the performance part of it. So looking back, it's hilarious. It's like fun, but that was like my one like ACC like interest, not a verified offer. Beyond that, Virginia Tech, of like notable ones. And then I had like the Patriot League, like Holy Cross and Lafayette, Lehigh. Davidson was one of them, but it couldn't really like, I knew like if it wasn't like a ACC
like
type
top
situation, I would have.
tier,
I wasn't gonna turn down an opportunity there because I was like, Jerry Moulin just happened, so I was like, damn, if he could do it, I gotta figure out a way.
Yeah. So Armani mentioned Dalton. That's a private high school in New York City. And there are a ton of private high schools in New York City that take academics extremely seriously and really don't look towards their sports programs as like any form of notoriety, except for Poly Prep. I guess Poly Prep has like produced.
Why don't we do that, man?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. And especially since like now, like Brooklyn is where it's at anyways. Like, I guess it always has been, but like,
that's it.
Yeah, man,
Brooklyn's been where it's at, but yeah, they knew. They were
I mean, they got the campus, they got the fields, they got everything over there. So like, I mean, that's really like what you need as an athlete. You know, you don't need like an 8,000 square foot building, you know, on like 16th Street with like with 40 classes.
Yeah, you don't need. You needed Virgin Records on 14th, bro.
Exactly.
You needed that.
Do you remember, like, speaking of these small schools and whatever, when we middle school, you and I were playing in the Grace Church gym, dudes. Okay, so this gym that they were using at Grace Church literally was probably 50 feet long. But 20 feet wide.
That was a multi-purpose room, bro.
It was like the dodgeball gym. It was like a phys ed gym. It was nuts. And they were using it like full basketball, like kids just dribbling down the court, shooting full bricks. Armani scoring like 20, passing it off to your boy Ted Jones.
Listen,
scoring like 12.
I'll let the people know about Teddy, bro. Your confidence was something to be admired. I'll admit that, bro, because I swear to God, in middle school, like I was pretty aware. I was like, all right, I'm nice. But this man Teddy is right here rocking. Was it? I don't know if it was you or Brian. You were rocking multicolored T-Max. I'm talking about the blue T-Max. And your whole swag was built like you dressed like you were averaging 30. Like your outfit. I think you had the hairpin.
Bro, I had the Iverson finger pads.
I'm positive. I know you had something with the hair.
Headband.
The hair pulling out. So yeah. No, bro. I was just like, damn, bro. If anybody walked in this gym, they think I'm like his big man just setting screens or something.
Yeah,
like
legit,
I got it,
dude. Oh my God.
I really get it, bro. Confidence is a big thing. So
hilarious.
I tip off to you. You picked that up early, man.
So funny, dude. So funny. So Armani, sticking with the basketball, bro. Gotta really admire it. That's very cool, dude. So just kind of give me a little bit of a situation. What's going on in Norway right now? I assume you guys are handling this coronavirus a little bit better. Our president is not great, in my opinion, of course. I don't like the guy. I don't know why he's not wearing a mask. I feel like people should be wearing masks, whatever. But what's going on over there in terms of like things starting up again?
Things are actually kind of back to normal. It's like I'm feeling some survivor's remorse right now just because, New York is obviously in a way different situation, but the thing about Oslo, bro, it looks like Tribeca, but just with far less people. It's like very surreal. If you know anything about Norway, it's like a very oil-rich country. Mm-hmm. That kind of just like came up on a bag because they were previously owned by like Sweden, which was previously owned by Denmark, and then they were kind of like the last to emancipate themselves from it all. And then
a little geography lesson for you guys that I would have never given you. Pat and I would not have given you that. Go ahead, bro.
It's all good, bro. Yeah, it's a full class here. You might be doing master classes after this. But just I say that because they have a very strong economy relative to other Scandinavian countries. So not that they're not affected by it, but I mean, it's just odd walking around knowing that everyone is like being compensated by the government, like healthcare wise, obviously, because there's free healthcare here, but then like systematically with making sure that anything that is not like if your salary isn't being met, it's like being filled in by the government,
That's great.
which is a luxury. It only happens with like this type of low population with the amount of like space that they have.
Yeah.
But you know, the oil thing definitely like helps. There's just a bunch of Teslas driving around, so like everyone's solid. My season's ended. My club just like paid me my last salary, so we have no beef. I can shout them out. They're good. They're all right. But yeah, I'm posted up until I make a move.
So from there, is it the G League and then NBA, and I'll be courtside in Brooklyn? Dude, I'm about to give up on the Knicks, man. This James Dolan guy. What's going on? I'm telling you, Brooklyn is the thing. So when am I sitting courtside, bro?
Bro, listen, man, I think COVID really jammed me up. So I had a year and a half off effectively because I had to deal with some health things. But this is like the healthiest season that I've had. I took care of my body during this like year and a half, which is why Dosa has kind of like come about, the skill sports program. But yeah, that was the goal, man. That was really the goal this summer. Like I had things lined up to start training and with the G League. So I was actually with the Westchester Knicks, the Knicks affiliate, like right out of school, before going to my first season in Belgium. And did you have an agent at the time? Yeah, horrible one. I have a different one now, but
okay.
Yeah. So like that's another story. But yeah, I would happily take that route because for me, basketball is a love thing. It's crazy. It's a means of living, you know.
Bro.
But I really, I mean, off the record is I remember how we used to have to pay to do our sports, you know, like you'd have to go to whatever Midtown Tennis and stuff, you know, like the idea of like I went to Basketball City, like, you know what I mean, and like paid for a camp to get shots up, like
exactly.
So it's weird to like, yo, you want to watch me dribble? So
right,
yeah, off that, it's definitely like whatever. But I would love to make that pursuit, but it just takes a lot on the body, you know. It's like
yeah, man, totally.
70 games, 70 games compared to Europe, where tops if you're playing in two different leagues, maybe like 50 with playoffs. So.
Right. So I'd say basketball is the hot topic right now, man.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Jordan documentary. But, bro, first tell us about the Dosa app, man. I know that you had some programs lined up in Connecticut, week basketball camps, all this stuff. Just explain Dosa, and then if you think these camps are going to happen, man, like what's the full plan here?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, first off, Dosa stands for Division I Student Athletes. Yeah, so basketball Dosa Basketball is like our flagship program, and truthfully, it actually started like before going into my freshman year at Yale. My mom, who you know, I feel like I brought her up twice now, but
we all know.
Roxana, who we all know, was just like straight up like, yeah, if you want any like, you know, movie money / you know, hanging out with friends, get clothes, whatever, sneakers, you're gonna have to figure out a way to, you know, pull that off, Papa. I'm like, I'm not working like at the library, or, you know, just all the, in my mind, horror stories I've heard of, like, you know, D1 athletes juggling sports, you know, responsibilities, school, and then like a part-time job just to like put like $15, $20 in their pocket a day. Like that just sounded like ludicrous to me. So I like reached out to the NCAA and Ivy League conference because, as you know, NCAA athletes aren't allowed to, you know, profit, let alone leverage their likeness to, you know, create any type of business. And for me, it just seemed like really weird that after 18 years of, you know, developing my game to, you know, achieve this status as a Division I student athlete, like through training regimens, either from like my own trainers or camps and stuff like that. Like, I was like, I actually know what it takes to be in the position of a collegiate athlete, right? I actually know like intimately the expectations and demands of, you know, collegiate basketball as it stands today. So why would anyone else like kind of like just, I don't know, like pontificate oh, this is how I imagine you need to train to become Armani. It's like, you can get at me. I'll tell you exactly what it is that I'm doing to, play at this level. So, and obviously, like, I came up with some people, my peers, and I made relationships by virtue of like my team that I was going into. So I let them know, I was like, this is my intention. And they said that I could actually create a sole proprietorship prior to stepping foot on campus as an enrolled student. But the moment I stepped in order to maintain eligibility, I had to transfer the company over to my mother. So during my 4-year tenure, it was like this, like, I was like kind of ghost operating. And it was like, they were, absolutely. But, I worked with them, found a loophole in it. But yeah, it was like every summer without any marketing, because I wasn't allowed to. I'd be like, yo, let me get 2 friends from Princeton. I'd have like a kid we played with who's like at Louisville and stuff. And we just do these camps and clinics like at a YMCA, or sometimes partner at Dalton, my like old high school. And it would just pop off. So now we've been doing this since returning to like professional basketball, and the network's kind of gotten larger. And now we have an app. We've co-developed an app to basically give access to young student athletes to the athletes who are currently doing it. And that's rare, usually you don't get to tap into those who are like, yeah, I got a game tomorrow. Like, good luck, like having that relationship in real time with like a sophomore at Dartmouth, or
and it's like it's like an Instagram DM, but it's like with context.
Okay, but exactly, but with context. Yeah, we got some UConn. I got a senior on the women's basketball team, Batuli Cameron from UConn. Shout out to her. I got another UConn, Terry Larrier. I don't know if he was you. Yeah, probably not. I think he's actually younger than you, but he's with the LA Clippers right now. So it's like it's really surreal just to like be able to connect the future generation and the next generation, because that's the stuff that we miss. Yeah. Didn't know it until we became it.
So what's the incentive for like guys like you who are senior at Yale, who like are debating going to the NBA draft? What's your incentive to like just respond to some people who are like shooting you questions like that?
What do you mean by that?
Like in terms of, they have this app called Cameo, where I guess if you pay like $100, your favorite celebrity will like give you a birthday message, like let's say I wanted,
for real?
So they have this thing, like, let's say, I don't know if he's on it, but whatever, like, let's say that, I love Ryan Reynolds because he's fresh. Mm-hmm. So like in order for Ryan Reynolds to say happy birthday to me, there's like a $500 fee by you. So you pay Ryan Reynolds, I'm sure he gets X amount of money, whatever, probably 70% of it. And then he's like, happy birthday, Ted Jones. Like, I want you to know Armani loves you. He thinks you're great.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. So, you're asking like, what's the relationship in that? No, it's actually different. So, right, obviously, it's the relation, the fact that the app exists right now, given the COVID scenario, it's helpful. But prior to that, right, we would do it in physical form, right? We had clinics. You saw, like you alluded to, like Chelsea Piers and camps that obviously like won't exist given the situation this summer. But like we've partnered with Chelsea Piers, where Dosa operated as a camp, and we'd have like, I'd piece together a network where they'd come there and function like any other basketball clinic, except it was exclusively instructed and designed by current athletes. So as a result, there would be like a lot of the resources that we're accustomed to, like film, skill development contextualized by like the game situation, the things that like made sense to us that allowed us to play. In terms of the app, the reason why, an underclassman or an upperclassman in college would want to actually like utilize our resources is because it's really difficult to communicate things that we like instinctually know. Like, you play tennis, like I'm sure you could like speak to exhaustion. It's like, yeah, bro, like when I slice on the backhand, I do it like this. Like, you'd probably mimic your coach and like remember it. But like, as skilled as you are, maybe you're even better than your tennis pro. It's sometimes more about like, okay, how are they communicating it 100%. So it translates to the younger player, right? Like Andre Agassi is probably is a beast, but I don't know if it like translates to him teaching. Like Derrick Rose, like there's nobody better who can like go off of a pick and roll like that, in my opinion. But he might not be able to articulate what it is that you're looking for in a coverage compared to so-and-so. So Dosa effectively like bridges the communication gap, because through the app, we actually have like a built-in curriculum that speaks to how we as athletes understand the game, and we can organize the workout by the video clips. Like if you look on our Instagram, I always like, tease out a couple.
Shout it out.
Yeah, at Dosa Basketball, DOSA Basketball. We're able to kind of organize the clips in a way that like translates to the game. So if I say, like, yo, Teddy, we're gonna work on ball screen decision making, instead of just giving you a random ass drill, it's like, okay, this drill makes sense because here's the game situation. This is the drill that you're using to prepare for this game situation.
Detail.
Yeah, detail, exactly. Instead of like how I've usually learned how to play the game, which was just like, hey, bro, you're going to hit him with the in and out cross over here, step back, jump shot. I'm like, dope. And it's like, it feels cool. And then I'm like, damn, like, why am I not able to do this in the games? Because I have no idea when I'm supposed to use it. When I use it,
like the pro has done it, 25,000 times, maybe even more.
Yeah, and then half the time, honestly, when coaches show you it's a little outdated too, they're not playing anymore. So how are they really supposed to,
They lost
how
a
are you
little
going to
spring
speak
in their step.
I mean, it's no shade. Like, eventually I'm going to be removed from the game. It's just like, if you didn't get exposed last night doing that same move or have some success to it last night, how could you like authentically speak to it in a way that, the next generation is ultimately, like, you're putting them in a position that hopefully you've been in touch with. Like, my position at Yale right now, like, I'm 6'7", like shooting guard, it looks crazy different. They got a 6'4" guy there who's running a different type of offense. Like, I can't tell you what it would take to play right now as a starting guard at Yale. Like, it looked different.
So it's really about just getting like a dinner conversation with the person who just did what you want to do.
It's one way of thinking. Yeah, it's about access, Like, drills are arbitrary, bro. You know that. There's no new drill in tennis that's supposed to make you a pro versus it's reps coupled with access to how it's done, right?
So
like,
go ahead.
No, yeah. Go ahead.
So how do we access the app, bro?
For sure. So definitely, especially you could be an aspiring student athlete right now in basketball watching this, or perhaps you have some friends and family, like girls and boys. You go on to dosasports.com/app, or you just go on dosasports.com and then you'll see the app on the widget above. And then, you click that and you'll kind of get a quick look at some of the friendly faces on the network, some UConn guys there, definitely like a lot of Ivy League athletes, but know that they're all current athletes. We got some pros too, like you're probably familiar with, and G League and NBA guys. But I'm also excited. We're expanding in Europe with some EuroLeague players. So we got a new guy, Edwin Jackson. He played in Osfeld and played at FC Barcelona. So it's just been really cool to like get these guys in a space where they can communicate what they know so well, instead of after they retire and then they kind of lose their juice. And it's like, this is what I was doing. It's like, I want to know now. So when you have 30, I feel like, damn, he told me he was going to get 30 that way, So,
you know what I mean? I think that this is just like, it's such a different time for everyone, obviously, because it's 2020 and we're in quarantine and there's a pandemic. But just like kids who are growing up right now, like let's say you and I were 11 years old again, going to school, we're 6th or 7th graders, we would have like such a different experience growing up. Like if I was able to reach out to like you as a senior at Yale, especially after seeing this Michael Jordan documentary, which like everyone obviously is watching and like is fired up about, like that's just a life-changing thing. Like, dude, I could be on Instagram, trying to DM my crush, my 13-year-old crush who's in 8th grade. And I can also hit up Armani, who's a senior at Yale, who's a standout, beating down UConn. So it's just, it's a wild time. Oh, dude, I have to show you these things next. If you guys are watching on video, which I hope you are, I have this Reggie Miller like statue thing that I've had forever, dude. And then check this out. I also got Charles Barkley here. Dude, I have Dennis Rodman somewhere. I can't find it. But dude, I had to bring them out. No, dude, I went through like, I knew I had old figurines of sports, dude. So I pulled out like the baseball. I have some tennis people, and I was like, all right, I'm definitely bringing these computer aside when Armani's on, so he just knows I'm the real deal. So, dude, tell us like what you think about the Michael Jordan documentary. Tell us what you think about Jordan in general. What's your opinion on his legacy now that he just dropped that, especially in 2020 when all eyes were on him? Full 10 episodes.
First off, great move by him. He probably felt the grip loosening on
after 2016, right, when LeBron won that title.
I get it. He's a smart man. I mean, for me personally, the biggest takeaway, I've always like idolized Jordan, and I don't feel like I necessarily saw anything I didn't already know, but it was cool to hear him just talk about how he was able to like sustain his hunger. Because that's really difficult to do when you're doing well, really well, like, and everyone rocks with you like that. Like literally the whole world is just like, yo, you're that dude. And just like, it's hard to maintain a lead. It's easier to chase. So like the way that he used like visualization / like just straight up delusion to like make up scenarios where he was like almost the underdog, or at least being like attacked, like the random shit with the dude saying like, hey, nice game, Mike, after like he had 35 on him, and he just completely fabricated that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm like, I'd never had that like when I was younger. There was like other things, but I could 100% see how, I mean, outside of his athletic ability, his mind for sure was just like the sharpest tool that he had. Cause like, I mean, he was competitive, like eerily competitive, but bro, his conviction around his game was just so crazy. And the fact that he could like warp reality to be like, nah, he was trying to take away this. And like, I don't even know if that Isaiah Thomas stuff was even real. He's just like, he just likes finding edges, to just like make it really personal. And usually people play better when it's like emotionally charged. So I get it. Like, I think a lot of young players can learn from that.
So is he the greatest player of all time, better than Bill Russell, who won 11 championships in his mind?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really go. First of all, hats off to Bill Russell, but I never saw dude play.
Yeah,
Kobe's like my guy. That's my personal goat. Like, I love dude to death. I think I appreciate a Jordan archetype just because it led to all the other favorite players that you probably have, from AI to Jordan for the LeBron fans, and obviously Kobe. So I'm probably giving him the nod just because of the mental part. I don't know what Bill Russell's mental was, but like the state of the 90s where it was literally just like, yo, basketball was that thing, and he's that dude with all the commercials and all the love, and he's still eating like 3 times in a row. That's hard, bro. Yeah, it's hard to do anything 3 times in a row.
Twice.
Yeah, 2 times. Two sets of 3. That's a tough workout, man. That's tough.
And okay, so like I think the one thing that everyone is trying to wrap their mind around, it's like one of the last things we're gonna talk about, but like one of the things that everyone was really like, what the hell? No way. It was like towards like the end of the whole series, like the last 20 minutes, this flu game that we all thought that he was like super freaking tough. He was sick. He was just battling some virus or anything. And especially during times like now, we were all like, oh, yeah, man, this virus it's got to be tough. So it turns out that Michael Jordan, I'm sorry, spoiler alert, turn this off right now. If you didn't watch it, you should watch it. But the game that was considered the flu game, he ate bad pizza the night before and considered that like maybe the Utah Jazz pizza store poisoned his pizza. Nuts, dude.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, unfortunately, I wish it would have came at like a suspenseful surprise. I had heard about that already. Yeah, he had spoken to it a little bit. And honestly, I think they could have done a better job of making it dramatic, because like that visual I had in my head when they said that, I was like, bro, like 5, like, when I'm thinking like Italian Utah living, like men pull up with like a single like pizza pie, like. Yeah, this shit is hilarious.
But you know what happened? Apparently, I read up on it. I was like, yo, there's no way. The producer said that Mike told the guys that were around him, he's like, y'all didn't wait for me, and spit on the pizza and was like, you guys can't eat any of this. So Mike ate all the pizza by himself.
Yeah, no,
I did it.
I don't know. He went ahead and spit on it to make it like his own, bro.
It was
Mike
so
crazy.
dramatic. I don't fully know.
Mike's a lot, bro. I mean, yeah, no, that part's crazy. Food was tough. Food poisoning is real tough too. So, I mean, either way you chalk it up, having what do you have, like 37 or 40 or something? Yeah.
Yeah, something nuts.
Yeah, something ridiculous while sick like that. But I think he kind of likes that stuff. I think it's better for the shoe, man. I played in the Jordan flu game 12s all season. You know?
That's amazing. And it got you feeling some type of way too. You were like,
of course.
Every time had a big cheese pizza last night. I'm about to start flying like Jordan. Armani Cotton, thank you so much for joining us, bro. Shout out the website and Instagram situation real quick again, just so we could get it.
Yeah. So at Dosa Basketball, at DOSA Basketball on Instagram. And then honestly, you could type in dosabasketball.com. It's also the same. Dosasports.com, dosabasketball.com, same thing, app up top.
Armani, thank you so much for joining us, bro. I know it's a little bit late over there. And speaking of food, I know you got to eat, man. But we will talk. Man. We will talk soon. All right, bro? Thanks so much, man. Ted Jones Worlders. Of course, Ted Jones Worlders out.